Hey, what's up you guys? If you're new here, my name is Crystal. You can call me Cece. Sorry, I'm kind of looking a little like Lord Farquaad right now. I'm tired. I was up all night last night and a couple days before researching the Epstein Files, which a lot of them are still redacted, and they removed all photos of the Epstein's arrest and the court photos. Like, everything's in sketches now, and I could not find the arrest video of Epstein to save my life. If you see me looking down, I'm looking at my laptop. We're gonna go through all the documents that I have. I will be putting them up here on this side. Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in July of 2019 on federal sex trafficking charges involving minors. 1 month later, he was dead inside of his jail cell. Federal jail cell. Once he died, the story did not end. It was continuously still going, and over the past several years, especially with the newly unsealed documents that they put out, the public has gained access to thousands of pages that were tied to the Epstein activities. So these files contain flight logs, seized contact books, deposition transcripts, email correspondence, victim testimonies, and financial documents. Tonight we're going to be examining the documents actually shown, who appears in them, what is proven, what remains unanswered, and most importantly, the victims whose lives were permanently altered because of this piece of shit. Just a reminder, if you do see me looking downwards, that's because I have my notes and everything written down on here, so bear with me. So Jeffrey Epstein began his career as a math teacher at Dalton School, and this was in Manhattan in 1970s. Despite that, he was lacking a college degree. So he later entered into finance and worked at Bear Stearns. By the 1990s, he had formed his own firm claiming to manage money for ultra wealthy individuals. One of his most significant financial relationships was with Leslie Wexner, the founder of L Brand. Public records show that Wexner and Epstein brought financial authority, including control over major assets and property. So within this timeline from the 1980s to 2005, he got his Manhattan townhouse that was reportedly worth over $70 million, his Palm Beach mansion, a ranch in New Mexico that he calls the Zorro Ranch, and of course the infamous private Caribbean island, Little St. James, which is Epstein Island. These properties later became central locations in victim testimonies, which was super important. So this, we're going to be going over the first criminal case. So in 2005, Palm Beach ended up beginning an investigation and allegations that Epstein had paid a 14-year-old girl for sexual acts, which would be considered, I guess, his massages. Investigation ended up widespreading, and dozens of potential victims were ended up calling in, majority of them underage. However, in 2008, Epstein entered into a controversial federal non-prosecution agreement. He pleaded guilty to the state charges of solicitation and served 13 months in county jail with work release privileges. The plea deal shielded potential co-conspirators from prosecution. This agreement would later become one of the most criticized prosecutorial decisions in modern legal history. In July of 2019, federal prosecutors of New York charged Epstein with sex trafficking of minors and conspiracy to engage in sex trafficking. The indictment alleged Epstein recruited underage girls from 2002 to 2005 and paid them for sexual acts at his Manhattan and Palm Beach homes. So, federal agents reportedly seized hard drives, CDs, photographs, cash, diamonds, and a safe containing labeled CDs. August 10th, 2019, Epstein was found dead in his jail cell. The official ruling was suicide by hanging. That will be a part of the part 2, and possibly I might make it its own and it be a part 3, just based on the conspiracies from Epstein's hanging. Because apparently a lot of people believe he is still alive. I do too. There's no fucking way that like he has so much money and he's dead. There's no fucking way. There's no way. There's no fucking way. So let's do that. Comment down below whether you believe that Jeffrey Epstein actually died in that cell, or you believe he's still alive. Alright, so now we're going to get into Ghislaine Maxwell. This is about her conviction. So Maxwell was a long-term associate of Epstein's, and she was arrested in 2020. In 2021, she was convicted of federal charges, including sex trafficking of minors, conspiracy, transporting a minor for illegal sexual activities. So she was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Court testimony described Maxwell as someone who recruited underage girls, normalized abuse, and facilitated introductions. So much for being a girl's girl. I think by far it's sad that a lot of those girls had to endure sexual abuse, especially from fucking Jeffrey Epstein. Maxwell, who was a long-term associate of Epstein. So with that being said, we're gonna go over the victims and what the record shows about them. So multiple women have publicly identified themselves as survivors. Among the most known, so Virginia, she was allegedly trafficked by Epstein and Maxwell, two powerful individuals, and she did file a lawsuit against several men, including Prince Andrews. This was actually settled at the court. Then there's Courtney. She fought the legality of the 2008 plea agreement and pushed for victims' right recognition. And another, Maria, one of the earliest known whistleblowers who reported Epstein and Maxwell in 1990s. And not a fucking thing was done. Now look what happened. So victim testimonies from the court records go over the recruitment of young girls, or of young people of young ages, promises of modeling and financial help, gradual escalation into abuse, and being told powerful men were untouchable. Which is fucking true, because look, Trump. Hello? So the victims described this as psychological manipulation, of course. They were isolated and fear of retaliation because of these powerful men were untouched. Majority of them were teenagers. Come on now. Who wouldn't be fucking scared? So, who appears in the files? This is going to go over the factual context, and disclaimer is advised, appearance in documents do not imply criminal wrongdoing. I say it like that because it fucking does, but whatever. If you were on the flight logs, if you were in the emails or any type of correspondent letters to anybody or a financial close associate, what the fuck ever, you were in the wrong, because you knew exactly what the fuck Jeffrey Epstein and Maxwell were doing. So the flight logs include, but not only, Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, and other associates. So I have my handy dandy, I did research. So Trump was named over 1 million times in the Epstein file, according to a representative, Jamie Raskin. So in New York Times, Trump's family was named 38,000 times in only 5,300 documents. And those are the ones that are redacted. So imagine how many times his name's gonna be in that motherfucker when they unredact them. Just saying. These mentions vary widely. Some are social invitations. Some involve philanthropy discussions. Some involve travel. But there is no verified public document listing a confirmed client list, I guess. They probably do have it. They probably just... These files have raised major implications. Access to power. Epstein had extraordinary proximity to global elites all over the fucking world. Institutional failures in 2008, the plea deal agreement, the discretion that shielded the broader investigation of anything else, and the wealth as insulation, as like the Epstein used donations that would give it to him, philanthropy, social leverage, and legal resources, like that embedded himself into like powerful networks. So the ongoing transparency questions are the redactions in documents have fueled like the debate over government disclosure standards, because now they did come out with the Jeffrey Epstein Files Transparency Act, which you can actually go online and look at all of the seized photos, all of the evidence, all of the documents. But I really feel like they released them because it's so much to fucking read. I had to read so much, and there's over like 300,000 pictures on there, and that's including documents as well. Like there's so much more, and they just haven't released it. So with that being said, beyond names and documents, this case it's so much more. Young girls that were exploited, families who were silenced, especially in the 1990s, a justice system that completely failed over years. The files, I guess they kind of provide like a partial transparency, but full accountability remains an open question, just because fucking Epstein killed himself. So with all of that being said, I will do a part 2 to further deep dive into the documents itself, and then I'll probably do a part 3 about the conspiracies of Jeffrey Epstein's death. He's alive. But with that being said, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to be here for part 2 and part 3, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, turn on your notifications, and we will see you in the next one. Fucking Epstein.